Welcome to 18 to 49. I am Alaia, and I'm super excited because it is fall TV preview time again. I am one of those people who loves to know what's coming up in the world of television, whether or not I watch all of it. And really, I only watch a small fraction of it, but it's cool to see what's coming out, what people are interested in. And so I'm actually really excited to have another TV-loving podcaster with me. Carly Beaumont of CoreTempArts is here. Welcome, Carly.
Hey, welcome. Oh, well, now welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited to be here. So excited to talk about TV. I don't even know what I'm saying, but thank you. Thanks for having me.
I was on your show last night. So it's like we're just, or the night before last or something.
Yes.
You keep track.
Back to back. I know we just had like a lovely conversation about the Emmys. So that was great. And now we're talking about fall TV, which is my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, and it's kind of perfect to talk about the Emmys and what we kind of just saw that was getting celebrated, and taking a look at what's new and what we think could be, you know, the next great show, if anything. But let everyone know a little bit about CoreTempArts and all the cool stuff you're doing.
Sure. CoreTempArts is a podcast network that I started, and I started it with my show, the OG show, as my peers like to call it, which is a pop culture show called That Pop This Life. And I also have another show called Talking Shondaland, which I cover all of Shonda Rhimes' TV shows. In every episode, we cover pretty much TGIT. And then, you know, it kind of snowballed from there. We have a great show called We Got Five, Let's Chat with Revel and Friends, which is an interview show. And the latest addition have been Geek Gravy for those geeks out there, Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray for horror fans who love horror movies, and Amygdala magazine. So it's all about writers and short story writers. And we have a whole bunch of other shows at CoreTempArts.com, but mainly is pretty much just me kind of getting people in shows that I really enjoy and people that I would like to work with, having them come on, and we just have this great community where we help each other with our own shows and to promote and for technical things, for personal things. We've all become kind of a good group of podcasters and friends, I hope. And it's, you know, we have a really good time over there at CoreTempArts.com.
Yeah. Awesome. And you've got people covering a wide variety of shows, and I'm excited to jump in and talk about a couple too. And I think it's a really cool setup that you have. So I definitely encourage everybody to check you out. And at the end of the show, Carly will let you all know where to find her and check out all the great CoreTempArts content.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, what you're referring to is TV Ate My Brain, which is kind of like our official TV podcast, where I just have different podcasters who would like to talk about TV, but may not want to open a feed or just may not want to do that on their own show. I just kind of invite them. You can do your own thing, and I put it on the feed, and we are covering a lot of great things. And I'm really excited that you'll be doing some stuff for us too. So thank you.
So like that's just like one thing under the banner of what you do, but I think like the whole thing is a cool setup, and that you're doing that with My Brain is pretty cool. So I encourage everybody to check out what CoreTempArts has going on and TV Ate My Brain. And speaking of TV, we are going to dive in because there are a billion and one shows.
And you're being generous.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So we're going to take it network by network, because that just seems like the best way to tackle this behemoth of TV shows. And we'll start with broadcast and then move on to cable, where I tend to think things look a little more promising, but you can let me know what you think, Carly.
No, I tend to agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think looking overall at what's going on with broadcast, to me, it seems like a lot, not entirely, but a lot of same old, but I'm seeing so many like rehashes and reboots of things. You know, we have obviously, I don't know if Sleepy Hollow is coming back or if it got canceled or whatever, but either way, we had Sleepy Hollow, we had Gotham, which is a Batman thing. Yep. We have Lethal Weapon, you know, Hawaii Five-0, and you kind of Frequency. Yeah. And so you kind of think like, where are the original ideas? And I feel like the original ideas are on cable, but we'll get there soon enough. So first up, let's talk about ABC. When I was making a list of what was coming on, I felt like I was running out of room. There was just so much to write down for ABC. And I am not going to watch most of it, to be honest. In terms of returning shows, we've got Modern Family, Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder. Scandal is not coming back right now due to, I believe, Kerry Washington's pregnancy. So that'll be back in 2017.
Although they like a few weeks ago, they were just like, oh, it's not because of the pregnancy.
Right.
Shonda just wanted to make it a shorter run, a tighter season. And part of me is kind of like, okay, sure, I'll believe it. Why not?
Yeah, whatever. Just use that extra time to like write something that's not a mess.
Ditto.
Yeah. Once Upon a Time is coming back. Secrets and Lies is coming back. Interestingly enough,
Shocking
I don't remember hearing people talk about that, but that's returning.
Yeah.
I think I said Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Last Man Standing is coming back. I, a couple of years ago, watched it with my mom who loves it, and I did not expect it to be funny, but I actually laughed quite a bit watching it. And it's never something, it's never something I think to watch on my own.
Right.
But if I happen to be watching TV with my mom and it's on, I don't completely want to pull my eyes out, which really surprises me. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've never seen it because what's his last name?
Allen.
Tim Allen, thank you. He makes me want to claw my eyes out. I don't find him funny. I don't find him charming.
Back in the day?
I watched it every now and then, but it wasn't like my show. You know what I mean? I just don't find him funny or charming or anything to latch onto. So Last Man Standing to me is kind of one of those, I hate to say it, I hate to offend people in Middle America, but it seems to be one of those like Middle America shows that kind of just shows that like do really well, but not for me. I don't like it.
Which is why I kind of wrote it off. And in some ways it is that. It's somewhat family friendly, very family friendly compared to what I watch on like ABC and Showtime.
Right. Which I don't mind. I don't mind family friendly.
No, I don't mind that at all. And it's kind of cheesy, but everybody needs, I feel like, their one cheesy show. But what's interesting about it is he plays this guy who owns kind of like an independent REI, like an outdoor store. And he's very conservative. And he's basically in this house full of women. He's got his wife and I think 2 or 3 daughters. That's why it's called Last Man Standing. But most of them are pretty liberal, including his wife. So there are a lot of kind of political jokes. They have black neighbors and they're actually pretty funny. The times I've watched it, I'm like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. So that's kind of a surprising one for me. And I can't say it's on my watch list. Again, I never think of it. But if it's on and I happen to catch it, I don't totally hate it. And another one that's coming back is actually Dr. Ken, which I was sure was canceled because nobody was talking about that.
Well, and the people that were talking about it were just like, this show is horrible. Absolutely horrendous. Why is this on the air? You know what I mean? That's all I heard about it. To hear that it was coming back, I was shocked. I was just like, why?
Yeah, and they canceled, I don't know how it was pronounced, Cristela. I don't know how they were pronouncing it.
Cristela.
Okay, my mom liked that one. That's not, my mom and I don't usually have the same taste, but I'm just saying, like, I know my mom saw it and liked it. And it's interesting because I did feel like a few people, I heard more about Cristela than Dr. Ken, and yet I don't see that one coming back. So,
well, Cristela was canceled, I think, like mid-season.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Yeah, and some people that, like some critics that I respect, were kind of broken up about it. They were just like, this is a really solid show. So the fact that ABC canceled it is just like, what's happening over there?
Yeah. And then also returning Dancing with the Stars, of course.
Which I love because I'm a little white lady.
I haven't watched it in a while, but when they have people on that interest me, I definitely tune in. And in the early seasons, I actually got to go live a couple times and watch, which was fun.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, so that's back. The Middle is back. I can't believe it's on season 8. That's another one my mom loves, but I can't watch that one. I'm just like, I don't care.
No, neither do I.
Fresh Off the Boat is back for the 3rd season. Blackish is back. I like that one, and I like it actually a little bit better than Blackish, which is also back for its 3rd season.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if I had to pick one or the other, I would definitely pick Fresh Off the Boat. But I really enjoy Blackish, mainly for Tracee Ellis Ross. But
she's great.
She's so good. And also Jennifer Lewis and Lawrence Fishburne are also really good. And the kids are great. I guess what I'm saying is that I don't really like Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, like he's the weak link for me.
Super weak link. Like I would choose all the kids, before I do him. But Fresh Out the Vote, I think is so funny. It's a really funny show. And Constance Wu is just outstanding. So I watch it. I look forward to Fresh Off the Boat. And I'm really, really happy that it's back.
Yeah, me too. I love Fresh Off the Boat. They've got a great cast. And I think because I grew up in the 90s and I grew up around a lot of Asian people and my friends, like when I first watched the show, I'm like, those were my friends,
Yeah.
like growing up with parents that were, that came here later, and my friends being first generation. So I was seeing a lot of my own childhood in that show.
Oh,
So
nice.
I think it's pretty fun. Another one that's coming back is Quantico, which I didn't watch, and I feel like a big part. I'm I'm one of those people who will reject something if
many like it.
Well, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that happens. Like if I feel like something's overhyped, or if I feel like the initial advertisement bothers me. And Quantico in the beginning was hardcore sold as like these attractive agents doing things. And I'm like, okay, TV is full of attractive people. Like that's
doing
not
things, right?
Yeah. Like that's not going to do it for me. So they never really sold me. And my former host, Brandy, she would talk about it a few times. And I mean, she wasn't even completely sold on it either. And so it's just not something that I really went for. But I figured it would come back because people didn't hate it. Mm-hmm. And ABC does seem to kind of have a diverse lineup. Did you ever watch Quantico?
I watched half the season and I bailed. I jumped ship so quickly. It was billed as like pretty people doing things. Oh, they're agents and great. So I'm just kind of like, whatever. It wasn't appointment TV for me, but I watched it and it was entertaining. But then after a while, I kind of wanted for it to be something that it wasn't. And once I kind of gave myself a talking to, and I was like, this is not going to be what you wanted to. It's time to go. It was just kind of just dumb all around, But I know people that like it, that liked it, that enjoyed it, that are coming back to watch it this second season. So it does have that fan base, but it's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can totally see how that would be the case. ABC also has a crop of new shows coming up. One that is joining the Shonda lineup is Notorious, and I don't really know what it's about, but I do like the lead actors on it, including, I can never pronounce his last name, Daniel Sunjata, is it?
Yep, that's right.
So I'm willing to give it a shot because he's on it, but that is joining the Shonda lineup. I didn't know it was coming because I just assumed The Catch would be back, but maybe if they bring The Catch back, maybe it'll be back in winter.
Yeah.
But
The Catch is back and is going to be, The Catch will start after How to Get Away with Murder ends. So Murder is usually about 15 episodes. So right after that, The Catch will start. Notorious is one that the critics aren't liking, but I'm really excited about because I kind of like this type of stuff. And I'm happy that it's not the same old like a cop or a doctor or a lawyer, although
so
it is kind of about a lawyer. It's kind of like the, I guess, interplay between a criminal lawyer and a media producer, like a TV show news producer, and how they...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and how they kind of, I guess, fix the problem of the rich and famous. I don't know. But it just feels so different than the usual procedural bullshit. And maybe it won't be, but I'm very interested in it. And again, like you said, Daniel Sunjata, not only is he gorgeous, so he's really nice to look at, but I actually enjoy him on TV.
He's really talented. Yeah.
And Piper Perabo is, she's not too shabby. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for this. Hopefully it won't turn out to be like another Quantico where I'm just kind of like, this is crap. But I'm excited for it. So we'll see.
And I don't think about it, but I'll probably end up watching it because it is a Shonda show. And typically what happens is I was ready to give up on Scandal season before last, but because it was sandwiched between Grey's and How to Get Away with Murder, I watched it because I'm like, if I turn off the TV now, I'm not going to turn it back on for How to Get Away with Murder. Yeah. So Notorious is sandwiched in the middle, which I think is smart on Shonda and ABC's part. So I will probably watch it at least out of curiosity and see how it goes. And that's how I discovered another show that we'll get to later when we talk about Fox. But yeah, definitely looking forward to checking out Notorious.
But just Notorious is not a Shondaland show. It just so happened. Yeah, it has that kind of feel. So that's why they put it on the TGIT lineup. But it's not.
The big ads I saw were literally Ellen Pompeo, them, and Viola Lewis. And so I just assumed it was Shonda, which was probably
smart.
Their intention.
Yeah, of course.
To get people to think that because I thought it.
No, definitely.
Tricky.
Another show that I'm excited about on ABC because I like Haley Atwell is Conviction.
Okay, I know nothing about that, but I just know that it's another legal show. But other than that, I don't know anything about it.
So it's Haley Atwell from Agent Carter. I don't know if you ever watched it. So she is she's a former first daughter, ex-cokehead who's now, I guess, a lawyer set to wrong the rights of people that have been wrongly imprisoned. And
okay.
So I mean, again, it's a lawyer show, but at least it has a different spin on it.
Different premise, yeah.
So I'm excited about it. And again, I'm a fan of Haley Atwell's, so I'm watching it for her. If it were anybody else, I probably wouldn't. And it's on Mondays at 10, right after Dancing with the Stars, which I also think is
a competition. Yeah,
not a lot of competition, and it's smart for them to put it right after Dancing with the Stars, because it kind of seems like a good. The audience for Dancing with the Stars will probably like this show.
Yeah. Crop of other shows on ABC, but 3 other new ones are Designated Survivor, Speechless, and American Housewife. Now, Designated Survivor is funny for me because I just learned the term Designated Survivor. God, probably a couple months ago, some point this year. And it's funny because I don't remember if I saw the term or if I Googled what happens when all the important people are in one building. Like, I don't remember how I came across the term, but I thought it was so funny that the year that I learned what the term was, a show comes out called Designated Survivor.
Uh-oh. I think maybe you're being tapped.
Maybe. But yeah, I think it's an interesting preference. I can't say, or premise rather, I can't say I'm a Kiefer Sutherland fan. I never watched 24, but because I just learned that term and learned about that role, I'm curious to see the show. Now, it sounds to me like he's tapped as the designated survivor and ends up taking over pretty quickly, which doesn't sound particularly compelling to me. Like, it's just another way of saying you're the president.
Yeah,
you know
pretty much.
I mean?
No, pretty much. I think that's just like the in, and pretty much it's just him as a new, because I think he's playing like the secretary of housing and urban development or something, and so he's like this newbie who, you know, is like low on the totem pole, and now he's the president. So that's just the in. To me, what I keep hearing from like the critics is that Kiefer is really good, but the show is really not. So I'm out. I wasn't gonna watch it anyway. But you know, I'm pretty sure that this is gonna do really well because Kiefer Sutherland, you know, people like him.
People seem to like him a lot.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Speechless because you know, as the creators of it have been saying, you know, and we all know, anyone intelligent knows, there isn't a lot of representation of people with disabilities on TV. Right. And what I appreciated about this show is that they tried not to make it sentimental. So I like the tone they take with it. I've met Cedric Yarborough on a few occasions and he's on it. And so I'm rooting for him. But also I've just heard really good things about the show. So that one actually starts tonight, the night that we're recording this. So it'll be out already by the time we release. But I'm excited to check that one out because I've been hearing really good things about it.
Me too. And it's again, it's ABC. If ABC does one thing really well, is family comedy. And that's one of the reasons that I'm really excited about Speechless. But I think from you know, Blackish to Fresh Off the Boat to a certain extent, the Goldbergs, there's a sense of like diversity.
They're trying.
Yeah, that they're really trying. So I think Speechless kind of fits right into it. So family, you know, this whole diversity thing that they're doing, I'm really excited because I think that this is going to be really well done and it's going to be a really good show.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch half of ABC shows, but props to them for definitely having a lot of diversity. And it seems, and as we talked about on your show, which I encourage everyone to listen to, our Emmy recap episode, there's a lot more diversity on TV than in movies right now. So when you actually look at all the networks, even CBS, which I don't watch, I mean, CBS is probably the least diverse. It is. But there's still diversity there on their major shows. So there's a lot more stories being told and characters of different, you know, ethnic backgrounds and sexual orientations and stuff like that on TV, which I give big props to. So, okay, that's a lot for ABC. And NBC is interesting. They seemed to have fewer shows. And I'm guessing, I didn't do any scientific research, but NBC seems to have a lot more hour-long shows. ABC has a lot of sitcoms. Yeah. So NBC has their staples of Chicago Med, PD, and Fire, which I never watch.
That's their bread and butter.
That's their bread and butter now. Yeah. They have SVU, which I do love. But SVU is like now, I think, season 17 or 18. So they have these cornerstone shows every night of the week. And then they have The Voice, The Blacklist, a new show called Timeless, which I don't know. I don't know how that's going to, I don't know how the public is going to respond to that. But NBC seems to have a lot more hour-long shows. Yeah. And so therefore they have not half as much, but they seem to have half as much coming out as ABC. And in some ways, I think that's like a good thing. Like I think ABC every year, it seems like so much gets canceled on their network, but that's because they're putting so much more out than everybody else.
Do you think so? I just think that they're I don't know who's the development person over there, but they're not doing like a great job, or they haven't been over the past few years
to ABC or NBC?
NBC to kind of do, give us really great shows. Everything's really broad and just there's nothing specific about them. So they haven't succeeded.
I rarely watch NBC, but when I just look at what's coming out that's new, they tend to not have a lot because they have football. No. I mean, they have some kind of football on some days of the week. They have, like I said, The Voice. They have all their hour-long stuff. And in the not too distant past, they had, Parenthood and stuff like that. So, where ABC might have 4 comedies in a night, NBC has 2 shows on.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, ABC right now, like, NBC was the one that had the Thursday. It was the Thursday, big Thursday thing. That is long gone. ABC is the one that has 2 nights of comedies, of pretty good comedies. But this year or this season, which they've premiered already, The Good Place, which is a half-hour comedy with Kristen Bell.
Have you seen that yet?
I did see that, and that was actually pretty good. It was funny. It's a different premise altogether. It's not a sitcom. It's not one of those mockumentaries. Yeah. So I really liked it, and I'm definitely going to continue to watch it. And then last night they premiered This Is Us, which was pretty good.
Yeah. See, I had mixed feelings because I watched the commercials and they frustrated the hell out of me. But everyone I know who has seen it in advance said it was great, and people know that I love Parenthood. And so I still have these mixed feelings because everyone's like, well, if you liked Parenthood, you'll love this. And I'm like, like I kind of side eye it.
Yeah.
But one of my friends, he's like, this is the best Jason Katims show that Jason Katims didn't do. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, so I will definitely.
So I haven't seen it yet, but it is on my list. But it just, the opposite of some of the ABC shows like Quantico, where I said like it annoyed me for a different reason. I was just like, everybody's talking about This Is Us, and the commercial frustrates me. So the combination of that, I'm over it. But I definitely will give it a try because I did love Parenthood, and people say that this one's really good.
It does have that. Your friend who said that about Jason Katims, it's totally right. It does have that Parenthood vibe. So, but I'm not sure, like, if you love Parenthood, you're going to love this. They has that same vibe kind of feeling, but I think that they're a little different because it's more about like adult things, and it doesn't have those like annoying TV kids on there.
Kid storylines.
Yeah. And then at the end of the pilot, it has kind of like, it shows you how all of the characters are connected, and that's really good. But outside of that, without, that being something, it was actually pretty good. I found it very heartfelt. Sterling K. Brown is in it, and I think he's somebody that kind of acts with all his heart. So his character I really liked. Mandy Moore and Milo Ventimiglia, I think they have a great chemistry. So it's good. And then there's some new faces on there as well, fairly new for those who don't watch that much TV.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and it kind of had me tearing up. Like, I didn't know exactly what to expect, but I liked it. So if you liked Parenthood, I do think that you would like this. I wouldn't say you will love this, but
and I think that's what annoyed me. I think that's what annoyed me because I didn't know what to expect, because they were showing the clips of like the woman in, I'm guessing, Overeaters Anonymous. I don't know, but yeah. That one, and then Mandy Moore like in labor, and then the dude Sterling K. Brown's character like confronting his father who abandoned him, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to expect from this show. Yeah. So that just kind of frustrated me. And not that I don't give things a chance when I don't understand. It's just that there's so much TV right now. Like, we've already spent a good 20, 25 minutes talking about what's going on 2 networks.
Right.
Like, there's so much TV that like my brain is almost in a place where it's finding reasons to rule out shows because there's just so much. And like, my DVR can only record 2 things at one time. Like, I wish I had AT&T Uverse so that I could record 4, but I'm like, all I can do is record 2 at a time. So even if I wanted to watch more, it's really difficult. So is there anything Okay, one thing that's returning to NBC that I've been curious about and haven't had a chance to watch is Superstore. People seem to like that a lot. Have you seen Superstore?
I did. It premiered I think in January,
Yeah.
Superstore, along with another one, telenovela, which I loved
Yeah.
both.
Did telenovela get canceled?
Yes, it got canceled, and I'm still a little salty about that. But because I like that one better. But Superstore is good. It's a workplace comedy. But they take this kind of workplace environment, like a Walmart type store,
Yeah.
to talk about like certain issues, but not in like a soapboxy kind of way, in like a really
Right.
funny way. And the characters are good. It's funny. I like it. Like I watched the after the Super Bowl, episode that they had. It was good. It's gonna start, I think, in a month or whatever. So I'm not excited about it coming back, but I'm glad that it came back because it's a good show. Again, that isn't a sitcom because sitcoms are kind of tired right now, unless you're like the Carmichael Show, and it's not one of those like mockumentary types like Modern Family because that's tired too. So
Right.
it's good.
Well, yeah, so I'm curious about it. It's probably going to end up being something I stream because I need to see season 1, but it is something that's on my radar. Now, I hate to be rude, but I don't really watch CBS, and people who've listened to the show for a while and my friends have all heard, I pretty much say that like I haven't watched CBS since the nightly lineup was Dr. Quinn, Early Edition, and Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah,
I haven't watched since then. So I don't really have much to say about their shows. They have a crop of new things that look awful. They have like MacGyver. And again, like with all these remake, like the MacGyver, The Odd Couple, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I don't know Hawaii Five-0, which insults me because I love the original so much. But anyway, CBS is interesting because I'm willing to give stuff a shot. Like Criminal Minds, I've seen in reruns on A&E, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's the way CBS advertises, but like I can't get into the Big Bang Theory and like Two Broke Girls. I've seen like 5 minutes of, and I'm like, this is obnoxious. But what I do think is interesting is because of what's been going on with the cast of Criminal Minds, Aisha Tyler, who I didn't even realize was on the show, has been upgraded to a series regular.
Oh, interesting.
To make up for Shamar Moore leaving
Right.
and for Thomas Gibson getting his butt kicked off the show. So Aisha Tyler, I feel like she's everywhere. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I don't know if she's still doing her podcast, but she was podcasting, voicing on Archer.
She's on the Talk.
Doing the talk show. The talk. So she's all over the place and good for her. But yeah, nothing on CBS is on my watch list. Do you watch any CBS shows?
I don't. I have I don't even have like a love-hate relationship with CBS. I just straight up hate CBS because they canceled back in the day Joan of Arcadia. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
I remember that.
I love that show. They canceled it. I was very salty about that.
But that's like still Dr. Quinn years, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I could get into CBS.
Exactly. Then I watched How I Met Your Mother and The Good Wife. And I was just kind of like, as soon as The Good Wife is done, I'm not watching anything else on CBS. Fuck CBS, right?
Yeah.
But I just saw this Pure Genius. I just saw the trailer for this. It premieres late October. And it's about kind of like this tech billionaire who has this state-of-the-art hospital in Silicon Valley. So everything is like gadgets and technology and like all this kind of like science fiction-y type thing.
And I like Dermot Mulroney. So
yeah, with Dermot Mulroney, created by Jason Katims. So
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Darn it.
I know.
You have to tell me that.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll stream it.
So
my TV, my TV does not turn to CBS.
No.
Like it's not possible.
It's just like, what do you want, lady? No, so to me, it's just kind of like, come on, I really shouldn't have seen this trailer because now I kind of want to watch it. Other than that, I don't know. Someone's trying to get me to watch Life in Pieces. I've seen a few episodes of the first season, which I hear is a good half hour, single cam comedy, but I don't know if I'm gonna like commit to it. So
I know someone who guest starred, so that was like the one episode I watched, and I just wasn't really feeling it.
Yeah.
Like I DVR'd it, and no.
So that's it.
So sorry, CBS.
Sorry, CBS. Yeah.
Now Fox is interesting because the Mindy Project is gone. It's on Hulu, and we'll talk about that when we kind of get to cable and streaming. The New Girl is back for season 6, and I am very proud of myself for giving up on The New Girl.
Okay.
Because I kept watching it because it was on with Mindy, and I kept wanting to like it. Like I really like Schmidt, and I kind of like Winston, but everybody else annoyed me, particularly Nick. And Nick is like the millennial version of Joey from Friends.
Oh, really?
And like I couldn't handle that. So I gave up. I gave up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine about halfway through season 2. And it wasn't because I didn't like it. It just became one of those things where something's competing. Like, I get a DVR conflict and I'm like, okay, which of these 3 shows has to go?
Yeah.
And I kind of cut Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I liked it when I watched it. Now, Gotham is back for season 3, which is interesting because people seem to kind of go back and forth about how they feel about that. Fox has the new show Pitch.
That I'm excited about.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I'm not into baseball at all, but I kind of like on principle want to support it.
Yeah.
But Entertainment Weekly said rave things about it. They definitely recommend it. And
yeah, most critics did.
Yeah, people liked that. They've got the new Lethal Weapon show, which I'm not going to watch.
Can I just say something?
Yes, of course.
My husband, who loves Lethal Weapon, he was like, I kind of want to watch the first episode. So right before we started recording, I was watching it because whatever, it was on. And it's just exactly what you think it is.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. It's exactly what you think it is. That's what it is. It's McG directed it. So it has McG all over it. And I just, whatever. It's like,
like I'm like, this isn't going to give me anything new.
Which sucks because I actually really like Clancy Crawford. Is that
the partner? What else has he been on?
He's a Rectify, which is where
I haven't seen that yet.
And he's such. I think he's such a good actor. Both?
Because I saw that Rectify is coming back as well this fall.
Rectify is only a couple of episodes a year, so I'm pretty sure he can do both. But I'm not sure. Actually, that's a good question because I'm not sure. If the answer is yes, he's back. But it's a couple of episodes, so he's probably back. Yeah.
And then Rosewood's coming back. I haven't had a chance to watch that. They have The Exorcist. Yeah.
It's probably one of the most forgettable shows. I saw a few episodes like waiting for Empire to start last season. And I'm just kind of like, what? Why? Why do we need the show? Okay, great. We can see Morris Chestnut without a shirt. That's maybe a good reason, but that's not really. So it's don't even waste your time.
Family Guy is back for like a millionth season.
Bob's Burgers back, which I really like.
Yes, my former co-host really liked that, and she made me put it on my watch list, but I haven't gotten around to that one quite yet.
It's a good show.
Empire is back for season 3, and I think I talked about this on your show, so I won't go into too much depth here, but Empire was one that frustrated me because I really liked what they were doing season 1, but I felt like there was very little story development. Like in season 1, when the older brother catches, I can't remember their names now, but the older brother catches the young singer chick kissing some other girl and takes a video. Yeah. And it becomes a controversy like until the end of the episode. Like that's how they would handle stuff. I'm like, no, you drag it out. Like you blackmail or you dangle it over the brother's head. He finds out, in a week or two. But they would churn through things so fast. I found myself wondering like, what are they going to do season 2? And by Thanksgiving of last year, I was done with the show. So I haven't watched. I'm about half a season behind. I'm in no hurry to get caught up, unless they have taken some more time with the writing and done more to develop the characters. Like,
I doubt it.
Yeah,
I doubt it. I mean, I watched the first season like you, like most, very excited. But I think in the second season, all I can say is that they just leaned into the whole soap opera aspect of it and nothing else. And it just became just a really horrible show where the first season was just like a really enjoyable, fun show that had, all these people, music, great. The second season was just kind of like, no, what are you guys doing? So I tend to be a completionist. And I was like, the same around Thanksgiving. I was like, I can't do this, but I'm going to finish the season. I watch. So hoping that it gets better. And that last episode of last season happened. I was like, I'm not coming back for this shit. No, I can't. It's there's, like you said, there's too much good TV for me to sit and watch an hour of Empire being just ratchet or whatever.
Yeah, I can't.
Right.
So the last show I wanted to take a minute to talk about on Fox is actually Lucifer. And Lucifer is the one I was alluding to when we were talking about Notorious, where I watched it because it came after something else.
Right.
I had zero intentions actually of watching Lucifer. I hadn't really seen the previews, but the billboards didn't really do it for me. It was one of those I wasn't going to watch. I'm a huge fan of the X-Files. I was disappointed in the reboot, but Lucifer premiered after the X-Files. And so I was sitting on my couch and Lucifer just came on right after, and I gave it a shot, and I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of like this. And I ended up really excited about Lucifer, and I liked it. And I want to take a minute to talk about it just because that it came out right around the time 18 to 49 went on hiatus earlier this year. I thought it was an interesting show. I liked the premise. I forget if it's based on a book or I think it's a graphic novel. So some people who've read the graphic novel kind of knew what was going to be happening in that first season. But I was someone who came in blind, and I really enjoyed it. And they don't churn through storylines the way that Empire does, but they went to certain places with characters I felt too soon. Like I feel like a lot of shows do too soon, and you wonder how the relationship is going to develop over the next, over future seasons if this is where we are already. Like I think shows like The X-Files did much better about like teasing out a relationship for 5-6 seasons and like giving fans a mostly satisfactory payoff. Or a show like SVU where there's obviously sexual tension, but nothing happens, and that's okay. So I don't know where it's going to go with Lucifer, but I am excited that it's back. So my DVR has already recorded the first episode. So this weekend I will be watching Lucifer, but that's definitely one that I recommend people check out, because if you were like me and were kind of like, not into this, you might want to give it a chance. Have you seen Lucifer?
No, actually, I'm one of those people that I was just like, not my bag. Yeah. There's nothing about it that is attracting. However, I actually thought about watching it because I found out that this season we're going to meet his mom, and I found out who's going to play his mom. And I was just like, maybe I'll watch it.
Who plays his mom?
Oh, I wasn't sure if you like did spoilers or not. Well, Trisha Helfer from BSG from Battlestar Galactica is going to be his mom. And I'm just like, oh, I really like her. And maybe I'll watch Lucifer. So
yeah, I mean,
and then after what you just said, maybe I will watch it.
Yeah, the first season is really short. Okay. It came on in like January. There's 10 episodes at most. So yeah, check out season 1 and see what you think. But yeah, that's kind of the Fox lineup, and Fox seems to have a lighter lineup as well. And they do have a lot of hour things. Excuse me, not as much as NBC, but I don't know if it's because Fox has sports. Oh, Fox is one of those networks where the news starts at 10, not 11.
Yeah.
So they are usually an hour shorter with their primetime programming than most other networks. So they're pretty light. And the only thing I'm 100% sure I'll see is Lucifer, but I may give like Pitch and stuff like that a try.
Yeah. Well, they also have The Exorcist.
Yeah, which
no, okay,
not for me.
Okay, not for me either. But it's Gina Davis, and I'm just kind of like, I'm still not gonna watch it. But
there's so many people you want to support,
exactly.
But then I have to choose.
If I had to choose, sorry. And then it's a special, but Rocky Horror Picture Show Live is gonna happen like a few days before Halloween, and that I'm excited about because I love musicals and.
Yeah, and I've been to see Rocky Horror in person, so I am totally down to watch that. So maybe we'll have to chat about that. Now, CW, it's so funny. When I was making my list and organizing all the shows by network, I actually wrote the WB out of habit.
Wow, out of habit? It's been like 10 years.
I know. I've never written CW on anything before. So I was like, the WB. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's not the WB.
Oh, that's funny.
I haven't watched the CW in a long time. I was one of those people who was a kid/teen when like Dawson's Creek and stuff was on. So I watched that. Yeah. But I think the last thing I really watched on that network was the Gilmore Girls, unless I'm forgetting something. I did my guilty pleasure was Gossip Girl, but other than watching like the first season live, I ended up streaming and binge watching it all later. So I watched it right before the final season ended. Like I kind of binge watched and just in time to catch the end. So technically, I guess the Gossip Girl is the last CW show I saw. I'm not into vampires, superheroes, stuff like that. So there's like pretty much nothing that I watched there. Right. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend people thought would get canceled, even though critics loved it. Critics and fans loved it, but people just weren't watching it. So now that it's back, I will give that a try. It's interesting. Supergirl got moved from CBS to CW. I'm not watching it, but I did notice that network switch. And then Jane the Virgin is the only other one on my watch list with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend because people have been raving about that for 2 seasons now, and I really want to check that out.
Yes, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Jane the Virgin, completely recommend. Those are two of my favorite shows. Supergirl, I'm trying to catch up now because of my aforementioned CBS hate.
CBS.
Right. But I'm trying to catch up now. It is not a good binge, by the way. Just I don't know if everyone else feels differently about it, but it's just not a good binge. You can really see the formula when you're watching it back to back. And that's not enjoyable. So I kind of stopped and I'm taking a break. But I watched almost all of, aside from like Arrow and The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, which I'm not big superhero fans like that. I pretty much watch everything on the CW. iZombie, I really like the originals, and Vampire Diaries. It's been that long, might as well finish them. The 100 is my top 10, one of my top 10 favorite shows. But new shows, I don't know if you're ready to talk about new shows.
Yeah.
I'm excited about two of the new shows, which are Frequency and No Tomorrow. So those I'm really looking forward to. And I'm hoping that No Tomorrow is in that kind of different, vein, like Jane the Virgin and like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, that have something different about them.
I will look to you to tell me if that and Frequency are any good before I give them a shot. But I didn't read about the premise of Frequency, but because I know that it's a reboot of a movie, it's one of those eye rolls for me.
Yeah.
But I like that the Tomorrow Show was the premise is sort of like an end of days rom-com kind of thing. So I'm curious to see what that's like. And what surprised me, it didn't surprise me that it was back because people seem to love it, and it was the cover of EW's Fall TV Preview. I'm like, I can't believe with all the fans voting, Gilmore Girls lost, but Supernatural made the cover.
But
what I can't believe about that is that it's been on for 12 seasons.
That was what my Oh Goodness was about. I feel like I was a little girl when that started.
Yeah.
That is truly unbelievable that show is that popular and continues to be.
And is like winning all the contests.
Exactly.
Like I think there was a bracket earlier this year, and I think they won or got pretty darn close. Like all of us X-Files fans were like going hard.
Yeah.
And with Gilmore's coming back and everyone's so excited, I really didn't think Supernatural was going to win this cover contest, but we can kind of say that in a way it did because Jared Padalecki played Dean on Gilmore Girls. So, there's a little touch of that there.
That's so funny. Yeah. I don't know. I've never watched a single second.
Neither have I.
Outside of previews during me watching something else. I've never watched it. So I don't get it. But, it's a genre show, and genre shows usually do really well with the public, with fans. So I guess I don't know. I have nothing else to say.
Well, let's switch to cable and streaming, which is interesting. Their lineups are a hell of a lot lighter, but I think light years better than most of what we're seeing on network. The only thing that I can think of off the top of my head for IFC is actually Documentary Now, which I would think we talked about a little bit on your Emmys episode, but I love how they set it up with like Helen Mirren, as this serious kind of like a Masterpiece Theater sort of intro to these documentaries that are completely fake.
Right.
But what's funny have you seen Documentary Now?
I haven't yet. No, I don't have IFC, and I have to figure out how to stream it.
What I find interesting about it is I can't really say whether I like it or not because it's not, it's billed as a series and in seasons, but because it's a different documentary every week, it's like a different show every week. Right. So I like half the documentaries and I don't like the other half. Like they did one about this like town in Iceland where people were really strange, or they did one about some native peoples in Alaska, and like the cast is different for each documentary. The stories are completely different. So half the time I like it and half the time I don't, but it's on my DVR, but it's just hard to judge how I feel about it because it's not like you're watching the same characters week to week.
Right.
Like you're not watching the same story. You're not even watching, it's not even like an American horror story in the sense that every season Ryan Murphy is, you're watching the same people kind of do different stories. Right. I don't know who's back this season, but it's completely different stories. But I think it's worth a try if you like documentaries, but sometimes like to laugh at the cheesiness of some things. Right. So I'm curious to see what they bring for season 2.
Okay. I mean, I'll catch it because I know the executive producer is Seth Meyers. So
yes.
I like his brand of comedy and his taste, so maybe I'll catch
Yeah,
it.
and
Yeah.
Bill Hader and Fred Armisen are in most of them, but
Oh,
like John Slattery was in one. The casts are just different every time, so it's
hmm.
interesting to see who they pull in and the stories that they choose to kind of make fun of. So I
Okay.
think that was fun. Sundance, the only thing that I noticed was Rectify, like I said,
Yeah.
and I don't know anything about it, but I think I remember you mentioning it.
I love Rectify, but again, it's one of those shows that is not for everyone. It
Yeah,
moves is very slow paced, but it's dense and it's heavy and it's very meditative. So if you like that kind of stuff, then I
I do.
recommend Rectify. And Aiden Young, who's the lead, he's just excellent in the role. So just to kind of watch him, I remember the first season, like I'd never seen him before necessarily or didn't remember him from anything. And it was just, he was like mesmerizing to just watch. And I'm talking about like, this is a man who doesn't say much. Is about an ex-convict kind of, was exonerated after a certain number of time, a certain number of years, and then he's kind of coming back into the world, into his life, but people still don't know whether he did it or not. It's a great show, and I recommend it if you like those kind of slow meditative type shows.
Sundance is interesting for me because and I have the same similar relationship with Sundance as I have with IFC. I feel like they have a lot of good programming that flies under the radar, and
Yeah.
so I'm just not aware because I actually really like the Hollywood Roundtable series that they do. I think that's on Sundance.
Right.
And they just did a series this summer before the Emmys where they'll get like showrunners or actresses or
Yeah.
actors or whatever together and talk about their roles and stuff. And so I like when I catch stuff like that, and it always makes me wonder what else I'm missing on those two networks.
Right.
They don't have they both play a lot of movies, so they both don't have a lot of original programming, but when they do have something, it's usually pretty good.
Yeah. I know. I like Portlandia a lot. I'm like a season behind, but that's on IFC.
Yes.
And what's that show? Red Road, I think it was it called.
I'm not sure.
And I think it was a Sundance show with the guy who played Cal Drogo. Oh God, why can't I remember his name? But anyways, I hear that was good too. I don't know if that's coming back though. But outside of those four shows that we just talked about, I have no idea what else is happening on those two
Yeah.
channels.
I feel like they do a lot of short term mini series or stuff like that. Like one thing that was really fun, and I can't remember the name, but Will Ferrell was behind it.
Oh,
and
yes.
Kristen Wiig was in it.
And Maya
And it was
Rudolph.
like, and it was that take on shows like Dallas and Dynasty and whatever, and it was really funny, and I liked that. But they'll do a lot of short stuff like that, and that's why I'm saying like I feel like I'm missing a lot of good content on those channels just because I don't know what's going on. Another network that they don't have a ton of original programming, and a lot of their original programming looks pretty cheesy to me. But TV Land, the one show that they do have that I ended up getting into surprisingly and really liking is Younger. Have you seen Younger?
Yes,
I love it. I'm so
love
excited.
Younger. Yeah.
And that's one I think was executed well because she's living this secret life, or double life rather. But they haven't worn out the storyline for me quite yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how it moves into season 3.
Right.
But I just like how they executed it. I think it's really funny without being shticky. And I don't watch a lot of comedies. So, and it's not a hardcore comedy. It's kind of dramatic. It's one of those weird in between things. Yeah. But I really like it. So I'm really excited for that being back. I love, why can't I think of his name? Oh my God.
On the
Mariska
show.
Hargitay's husband. I hate saying things like that, like so-and-so's wife or so-and-so's husband. Peter Herman, I think. But
that sounds right.
I love him and I like him on the show. And I actually like what's her face, the blonde, Hilary Duff.
Yeah, she's actually pretty good in this. She doesn't annoy me.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't think that I would like the show, but I caught it streaming, and I couldn't wait to catch up, and so I caught up in time to watch season 2. So I watched season 2 every week, and I'm excited for season 3. So that's definitely one I recommend.
Me too. I mean, I started watching the show because I'm a fan of Sutton Foster's Broadway work, her stage work, and I was like, hey, she's gonna be on TV. I missed out on Bunheads, so let me watch Younger. That's all I knew, that she was in it, and then I was pleasantly surprised. You're right. It's a very well executed premise, and I find it really pleasant. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
and
a pleasant show.
I feel like if it were done on network, it would just be so much worse. And I
Oh,
know
of
that's
course.
judging network harshly, but I just, and
But you're
because
right.
TV Land's not even premium cable, but I just feel like it's not something that we'd really see on network. So
Mhm.
I don't know, but I definitely recommend it. It sounds like you do too. So I
I do.
definitely suggest that people check that one out.
Yes, I
Now,
hear also on TV Land that Teachers is a funny, a funny show. I've never watched it, but I
I've
hear it's
never
good.
watched it. I've never watched it. And the promos made me, like
Cringe.
I said, sometimes I get on like a moral high horse and I'm like, ugh, like not this area or like not this topic or whatever.
Right.
But so I haven't watched it, but people say it's good.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be on my watch list with all this stuff coming up. But one thing I don't watch but wanted to mention is actually on Comedy Central. I don't think I'm watching anything on Comedy Central right now. Whenever Amy Schumer comes back, she's taking a break. I'll probably watch that. But South Park is coming back for its 20th season. I
No
mean,
way.
that's like Simpsons territory. I don't even know if I think did the Simpsons finally go off the air?
No, it's still going.
Jesus. So yeah, South Park has reached 20 years, which just
Holy
seems
crap.
insane to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you watch, but I just had to mention that because 20 years is a long time, whether we watch it or not.
I agree. I've never watched a single episode. It never has
Never
been
piqued me.
yeah, it's never has been my cup of tea. I just didn't get it. So I've never even watched the movie. But on Comedy Central, I watched Key and Peele. That's done.
That's done.
And one of my favorite Comedy Central shows outside of Key and Peele was Review.
I never got a chance to see that.
Oh goodness, it was like one of my favorite comedies, and I think a really underrated show. And I think I read, because I was like, wait, it was supposed to happen in the summer. I looked it up, and I think it's coming back for just a few episodes before it's done for good. So that's between that and Amy Schumer. That's it. That's all really that I watch on Comedy Central. So
Now,
I don't know.
one thing that's interesting, I haven't really watched TNT lately either, but they have a new show called Good Behavior. I think they have TNT has some like long-term dramas. Like they used to have the one with, and again, I hate doing this. Oh, good. I remember her name, Kira Sedgwick.
Yeah, the closer.
I didn't have to call her Kevin Bacon's wife. But they had that. And then they had the one with, they have one on now that I can't remember the woman's name, but I love her acting. I haven't seen the show, but I've seen her in other stuff.
Ooh, which one?
I don't know. Another tough female something. She's got kind of reddish brown hair. Oh gosh, I'll have to find the name of the show, but it's been on for a couple of years. I think it takes place in LA, and I can't remember if she's a cop or something else.
Probably.
But that's on. But then they had a lot of short-term things too. They had Hawthorne, which I actually liked.
Yes.
Franklin and Bash was on for a minute. And then there was another show with Mark Paul Gosselaar that I liked that was like a legal show that didn't last long, but I really enjoyed it. So the only thing that I really know of that they have coming on is this show called Good Behavior. And the only reason I've heard of it is I went to the Blog Her conference and they were a sponsor and they were giving out t-shirts that said like good and bad. And I kind of wanted the bad t-shirt, but then I'm like, I'm not going to walk around in a shirt that says bad. Like, I feel like that's just asking for trouble. But that one's billed as like a con artist type thriller, but I don't really watch TNT. So it's not likely that I will end up checking that out.
Yes. Lady Mary's in it. Michelle Dockery. So I think I'm gonna give the pilot a chance. That's the commitment I'm gonna make.
Well, I will check in with you,
okay,
and find out what you think. And as we're talking about a couple more networks, I just realized as I was kind of jotting down shows, I didn't hear anything about what USA is doing, which I think is interesting because they usually have something. It seems like a lot of things are wrapping up. Like I think Suits, which I've never watched, is reaching its finale. Chrisley Knows Best technically came back in August, so I think maybe they're still counting that as summer. I don't know, but like I haven't seen mention of anything new happening or seen anything about returning shows on USA this fall either. And I'm doing a quick scan, and I don't. What's going on USA? Have you heard anything?
The only one that I know is gonna be on USA. Oh goodness, what's the name of it? It is called. Not Incorporated. Incorporated is on Sci-Fi.
New or returning?
It's a new show. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm like blanking out on the name,
okay.
But it's one that someone was just like, "Hey, do you want to cover this with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And I saw the trailer and it looked interesting. It kind of has like a sci-fi Falling Water.
Falling Water.
Falling
Okay, yes,
Water.
they do have that. I did see advertisements for that. Well, because I was thinking, Mr. Robot is ending
Yes.
tonight, the night we're recording.
Yeah.
Queen of the South, which I've been DVRing but haven't watched
I
yet, that's
liked it.
wrapping up. So
Yes.
I kept thinking to myself, like, well, what's happening on USA, and why isn't anybody talking about that network? Okay, so Falling Water, which is that show about what happens in your dreams or something like that.
Right. It has
Okay.
kind of like that sci-fi element to it. It doesn't look bad. I saw the trailer. It doesn't look, I wasn't eye rolling,
Yeah.
which tends to be the case around this time of the year for new shows. But that's the only thing. I have no idea what else USA has going on. But I think,
Interesting.
yeah, I do like the fact that they're kind of being a bit more measured and not just,
Yes.
giving us an onslaught of new shows just because.
Just because.
I think
Yeah.
they're changing their brand a little bit, with the Queen of the South, Mr. Robot, obviously. So I think, I don't know.
I'm digging it. I'm totally
Falling Water
here
may be
for
good.
it.
Totally. I do like, and I know it's coming back. I don't know if it's coming back this fall. So, take it with a grain of salt. But Playing House, it's a comedy. I know you don't watch comedies, but
Just started watching a couple episodes of that, and I was surprised that I liked it.
Yeah. Okay. I love that show. I loved it. And the first season, I loved. The second season was really strong as well. So I'm excited for the third. I just don't know when it's going
to be coming back at some point because I think people really liked it. So
Yeah.
it may be like a January or summer or spring kind of thing.
Okay.
27.
As long as it comes back, I don't care when.
So another new show that I've heard great things about but haven't watched yet. I intend to, which means I need to set it on my DVR. Otherwise, I will forget. Is Queen Sugar on OWN? Have you seen that?
I haven't. I have a few episodes that I haven't stockpiled, but
Okay.
Ava DuVernay is, producing, directing almost all the episodes, and I want to support that. And I know Rutina Wesley's in it, and it's on OWN. That's all I know about it. So
that's all I know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the plot line is.
Neither do I.
But I like the people involved, and I've heard good things, so I'm willing to check it out. And that's the only thing. Like, it's interesting. I'm generally speaking an Oprah fan. Like, I'm not a diehard whatever, but I used to like her talk show, and I was excited for her when she got OWN. That said, I am not a huge Tyler Perry fan, so. The Tyler Perry programming she has on there, I don't watch.
Is that Greenleaf? Is that the Tyler Perry
I don't know, but stuff that she had earlier on, I didn't watch, and so I never got into an OWN rhythm. Sometimes I would watch Super Soul Sunday. I liked watching Masterclass. I really liked.
That was good, yes.
So anytime, I try to catch them on reruns to catch the ones I never saw. But I've heard mixed things about Greenleaf, so it would probably, if I do watch it, it'll probably be after the fact because there's just like a lot going on.
Yeah.
And not related, but sort of in the sense that shows that people are excited about because of their Black cast. Switching to FX, we have Atlanta, which is interesting because for me, that's an example of show previews that told me nothing, yet had me interested.
Yeah.
Like every time I saw a preview for Atlanta, I'm like, what is this? I know nothing about it, but I'm curious and I want to see it. And that says a lot for me personally because I can't say I'm a Donald Glover fan. Like I don't dislike him. I've just never seen him act. I saw him on the one episode of Girls he was on, but I've never watched Community or anything like that. So I haven't watched Atlanta yet, but I'm hearing nothing but great things from everyone. Yep. So that is one I will be catching up on and then adding to the DVR rotation. Have you seen that yet?
I have, yeah. It's a great show. I'm really enjoying it, and it's giving us a kind of a different look at Black men in America, especially in this part of the country. It's giving us a great just a great sense of place when it comes to Atlanta being the city. Not saying that like, oh, Atlanta's another character. No, but it has a really great sense of place, which I gravitate to, even though I don't even think I've ever been to Atlanta. But just to what you said about the trailers for the show not giving anything away or not giving you much, but you being interested, I think that that's a huge mistake that the broadcast networks do, which is if anyone go and just look up any trailer for any broadcast show, a new show, they pretty much give you the entire pilot in like 5 minutes, all the plot points, all the reveals, everything. And you're
like, what do I need to watch for?
Exactly. So to me, it's just like, it feels very counterproductive. I'm sorry. I don't mean to like go off on that, but
no. That's how I feel about movie trailers too. I'm like, okay, well, just told me the whole plot of your mediocre movie. I'm not going to go spend $20. Like I got to buy a $15 ticket, and of course I have to have popcorn.
Right.
Like, no,
So it's
I'm
like
not.
it's already a $30
No,
day.
I
I'm not gonna.
totally
No.
get that. And, we have just met recently, but when I get fired up about stuff, I get fired up. So
Yeah.
I am not going to stop anyone from getting fired up about something like that, which I totally agree with. Now, FX is interesting because I have to control myself because we're focusing on the fall. So, there's summer shows that I want to like talk about, and there's stuff I'm excited about that's coming up next year. But, maybe I can have you back in advance of the winter and spring shows.
Totally.
But another new show they have is Better Things, and I liked the previews for that. So, and I like Pamela Adlon.
Yes.
I think the first time I saw her act was Californication, but I'm not sure. So I do want to check that out. Have you had a chance to see Better Things yet?
I have seen it. I'm all caught up with the 2 or 3 episodes. So I like Better Things. I like
how you're approaching it. I'm like, okay.
I like Better Things. I like Pamela Adlon a lot. I like the relationship, the creative relationship that she has with Louis C.K. They do a lot of things together. I've been watching the 2 of them since his HBO show.
And she was on his show. Okay, so
she
I
was
saw
on
her
his
there
show, yeah.
too.
But I remember their HBO show, Louis. It was just called Louis. I don't even know, maybe late 90s, early 2000s, who knows. But so I like her. Totally like her. I like what this show is saying about being a working single mom, a single parent, especially when, you're the breadwinner. She's in the industry, so it has a little bit of that kind of
meta feel.
Yeah, meta feel. So all of that is really good. This is what turns me off to this show. And it kind of became clear last night when I was catching up to this week's episode. She has 3 daughters, and they're all assholes, excuse my language, but they're all just jerks. And I have this thing, Parenthood had a little bit of this too, but for some reason I could overlook it, where it's just these really bratty kids with parents that don't check them.
I can't deal with that anymore.
And this show has that. And I was just kind of like, man, this one facet of the show is going to turn me off, because I'm already like halfway turned off. I'm like dim right now. And that's the only thing. So if you can overlook that, I recommend it. If you can't, then skip it.
I will try to give it a chance. But yeah, I get sensitive about those kids too.
Yeah.
A returning show to FX. Well, actually, that's not true. Let me. I have to say this a million times, but I'm still bitter that they canceled Married, because I really liked Married. And now technically on FXX. Which, again, I didn't see any, but it's weird. Like, people raved about You're the Worst, and yet I'm not seeing it anywhere. We didn't see it represented at the Emmys. I'm not seeing people talk about season 3. And I think you mentioned on your show, like, maybe because it's buried on FXX, which I can't even say apparently. But my DVR is picking it up, so I'm looking forward to catching up with that show. But I thought that show was very well done. I enjoyed both seasons, and so that's returning.
Yes, I'm a diehard You're the Worst fan. Like, diehard. If you get me, I will stand on a corner with with a speaker and be like, "Watch You're the Worst." I just think that You're the Worst, and I think that the change to FX has affected it. That people aren't really like watching as much, and then therefore the buzz is a little low. But out of everyone that I know that watches it, loves the show, and critics love the show. So I don't know where the disconnect is, but
one of those, like, I can't think of what show. We've talked about so many, but there was one, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It's one of those shows that if people have seen it, they love it. But the problem is enough people aren't watching it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Now on FX is a returning show, American Horror Story. Are you a fan?
No.
So I've
never seen it. Okay. I've never seen it. I don't tend to watch like horror type things, but it's weird because he pulls in such great cast. Like I really love Dylan McDermott and stuff like that. And so I'm always tempted to watch, and I love that he works with Angela Bassett and all that, but I've never actually watched.
Okay. I watched every season except after 4 episodes of last season, Hotel, I bailed because I was like, this is a hot mess. But I'm back this season. What keeps me coming back is the cast, really, to just kind of watch them play and just watch them. So he can do anything, whatever theme every year, and I'll always come back to that cast. And the beginning of this season was actually pretty good, but they always they always start off really good. That's kind of Ryan Murphy's thing. Things
Yeah.
start off really good, and then they kind of take a deep
Nip Tuck.
nosedive. Oh, don't get me started on Nip
Yeah, like we don't even have time to go into that.
Not enough time. Let's move on. Goodness.
Yeah, like I need like a Ryan Murphy episode where we dissect all of his shows.
Yeah.
AMC, I miss the days of Mad Men and Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul is going to be a 2017 return. So the only thing that was on the list that I spotted really that anyone's talking about on AMC right now is The Walking Dead and like Fear the Walking Dead. And I don't watch either. So I don't know if you're into those shows or not.
I don't watch Fear the Walking Dead because I think it's a horrible show. And just plain and simple, just a horrible show. And The Walking Dead, I watch, but I'm like a season behind because it's just too much on. And I was like, I don't know. This is the same old, but it's the largest, the biggest show on TV when it comes to ratings. So it's back. So that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then over on premium cable, Showtime, the three shows of note, Shameless is back again. Yes. I haven't watched it yet. People say that I would like it, but I haven't seen an episode yet, which is weird because I really like William H. Macy. Mm-hmm. But I haven't seen a second of it yet. Do you watch Shameless?
I do. I watch Shameless. I love Shameless. It usually comes on in January, but this season for some reason is starting in October. So this year we got 2 times the Shameless. I loved it. I love the show. It's supposedly a comedy, but it's more drama than anything else. With some, I think of it as drama with funny moments because life sometimes is funny. That's how I describe it. I don't describe it as a comedy. William H. Macy is great. Everyone's really great, but the lead of the show is really Emmy Rossum, who has been criminally underrated on this show, and especially when it comes to award love. But Shameless is a really good show, and I recommend it. But I don't know your taste yet, so I don't know if you would like it or not.
It's one of those things where there have been so many seasons that I probably won't watch until it's over. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like trying to catch up in order to watch this season would take up all my time.
Stress you out.
So it's like one of those things that when you're in like a summer slump, you binge watch it if you like it, and then you're caught up by the time the next season starts, or you binge watch the whole thing. So it's definitely something that's always been on my radar. I've just never gotten around to it. And then the other 2 shows, like I mentioned, that I'm actually excited to talk about on TV at my brain. It started a couple weeks ago. Masters of Sex is back for season 4. Mm-hmm. What's interesting about that is people are kind of getting tired of it. I mean, I don't need sex in my TV shows. Like that is not a requirement for me at all. I personally think the show was more interesting when there was more sex, because more sex on that show usually meant more of the science and the innovation in terms of their study. And last season, I think, suffered greatly from focusing a lot on their awful children.
Yes.
So you do watch it. Yeah,
I do watch it. And because I'm a big fan of Lizzie Kaplan, but I had to kind of jump ship. I will come back to watch it halfway through last season because I was like, this is not the show that I signed up for.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I get that kind of frustration that people have. Yeah.
Like family drama. It's not what I'm here for. And, they've followed some of the timeline of the real Masters and Johnson, but they've taken some liberties. Yeah. What bothers me is, Josh Charles. I actually like him. Mm-hmm. I liked him coming in last season. Without spoiling anything, I just want to say, I don't like how they're handling it so far. Nothing will probably change this season, but what they've done so far, I'm not thrilled with. But what I think is interesting for me covering it is I get to talk about it at more length than I do on 18 to 49, where I tend to do catch-ups and talking about a lot of shows. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Right. But I think it's an interesting time to be really honest about the show because it's not at its peak, at least not right now. So it's interesting to see what they do with it and where they take it from here, because I've heard that, I think with each passing season, they stick less and less to the original story. Right. So it's interesting to see what they kind of come up with in terms of making things up. And in that sense, like you look at a show like The Leftovers, where really the book is season 1. Yeah. And so season 2 is a world that they created. But God, they did such a fantastic job, you know?
Yes.
So I kind of have that same expectation for something like a Masters of Sex, where it's like you have this rich material from these real people, you know, what are you going to do with it? And I didn't love last season. I still enjoy the show, but I don't think it was as innovative and interesting as it was the first 2 seasons. So I'm interested to see where that goes. And then...
Yeah. You know what? Just before we wrap
Yeah.
the Masters of Sex combo up, what I heard someone say that was talking about it was just like Masters of Sex, the real people, their lives were interesting. So why mix anything up? Why, you know, create this fantasy world or whatever, you know, make anything up when you stick to their lives is actually pretty, not torrid or whatever, but it's really interesting. So that, I don't know, would you say that that's what is the real problem?
Possibly. And what's interesting is, you know, they could be, and they're pretty close to the 70s, but they could be getting to the 70s where they get into some of their controversial work around homosexuality. But I think one of the things that Showtime suffers from is keeping their shows on too long. Californication was great at the beginning, and then it was just too much will they, won't they, together, not together.
Yeah,
Dexter. I thought Weeds, Dexter was great in the beginning, fell off. Weeds was great. I feel like once they left Agrestic, it continued to go downhill each season, and eventually you're like, how is this woman not caught? And by the time she gets caught, you don't care. So I feel like they're really dragging this out rather than having like 4 sharp, solid seasons. And they would have to take liberty with the characters' ages because you can't really age Lizzie Kaplan that much and have it believable.
Right.
But if they had cut out a lot of that kid drama and started to get into that tricky work, you know, they eventually get married. So we're probably going to see that. They're probably holding out for that. But, you know, they got married. They did this controversial work on homosexuality that she wasn't totally behind. Like you said, they have an interesting story. So I feel like if they stuck more to that history rather than like trying to stretch the show out, they could have something really solid. And when you have a really solid show from start to finish, people will watch over and over or tell their friends and their friends come in later. But if you can't be enthusiastic, like if someone says like, oh, should I watch Dexter? Like, I'd be like, you know, if they had asked me at season 4, I'd be like, yeah, like you've got to get in on it.
Yeah.
But the longer it kept going, it was like, you know, like, yeah, it's good in the beginning, but it like fades off. And now that we are in this binge watch culture, people do want something they can see through to the end. So I just have a lot of respect for shows like The Leftovers that are like, yep, we're coming back for our 3rd and final season. Like, we're not going to stretch this out 4, 5, 6.
That was the happiest news for me.
Yeah, I was like, thrilled.
Yes, and because now you know that, like, you know, they know that it's the end. They're gonna make it good, or I have faith in it because of the first 2 seasons.
And it wasn't like they got canceled midway and they got to throw some stuff out there, or they're writing it like they're gonna go on, but then they end up getting canceled, like Tyrant did. But yeah, I mean, and I respect that they're like, I was excited because I love the show and I want more because I now trust this team that's putting it together. But I respect that you can't stretch the story out too long. And I would much rather have 3 amazing seasons that in a year or 2, when I take a deep breath, I'm willing to come back and watch again than something that I'm mediocre about. So
for 7 seasons, yeah.
So we'll see what happens with Masters of Sex. And then the other one that I will be talking about when Masters of Sex ends, I believe that's when The Affair begins. And that's coming back for season 3. I love The Affair. I loved, for those who don't know, it was 2 perspectives about an affair and a case, and like a murder case. And you're getting 2 perspectives, the man and the woman involved in the affair. And then season 2 grew to have 4 perspectives, that original couple and then their spouses that they cheated on. So you get all 4 perspectives, not in the same week. So each week of season 1, we got both perspectives, but when they expanded to 4, you still got 2 perspectives, and they would just flip flop.
Okay.
And they do it in a way where it doesn't seem very difficult to juggle. And what I like about it, it almost becomes like a can you spot the difference kind of puzzle, because the story is happening and it's interesting, but it's so like I'm rewatching the pilot. I'm rewatching all of it in advance of covering it later this fall, but it's so fun to like watch the guy tell the story of how he met her. Like, and in his version, you know, her skirt only comes down mid-thigh, her hair is down. She's kind of like got this sultry look on her face. And in her version, she's this broken
Mousy.
woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, mousy, broken woman. Her skirt goes down past her knees. He's the one who wanted to check out her outdoor shower. Like, it's just, and it's a credit to the actors to be able to play it both ways. And I think Ruth Wilson is very talented. I loved her on Luther.
Yes.
And just even her and her face, like, you see it, the sultry character, the mousy, broken mom. Like, I feel like she's not getting enough props for this role either.
Agreed.
So I am interested to see where they take it in season 3. And I want to talk about the big cliffhanger in season 2, just in case people haven't seen it yet. So catch up. Here's your 2-month warning. It starts November 20th. But I'm excited. They have kept me pleased, and I'm excited to see how it continues to unfold season 3. But again, it's Showtime, so I'm hoping they know when to cut and run.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I feel like at this point, knowing what we know in that season 2 hanger, they could have been a show that said, we're going into our 3rd and final. They haven't said that, but I feel, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like now that we know what's happened, where are you going to take this? So I feel like they could, if they did it really well, could wrap up in a season 3. So, but who knows? We'll see where they take us in season 3.
Yeah, that's all we can do. And if you have hope, if you have faith in the creators, then I don't think that you could be that disappointed.
And HBO has 4 new shows that I don't necessarily plan on watching. I don't know if you're planning on watching any of them. They have High Maintenance, which is a weed comedy, and weed humor doesn't do much for me. Weeds was kind of an exception because it wasn't like a stoner comedy. It was just this mom who happened to sell weed. And I liked it in the beginning.
Yeah.
We have Westworld with, I think, Anthony Hopkins and James Marsden, and people are telling me to watch it. I may check it out.
Yeah.
We have Insecure. I take it back. I do plan on watching Insecure with Issa Rae. And then we have either Divorce or Divorced with Sarah Jessica Parker. Okay, Divorce with Sarah Jessica Parker, which I may give a shot to. Do you plan on watching any of those new HBO shows?
I am planning on watching all 4 of them.
Okay, awesome.
From what I understand, I never watched a web series, but High Maintenance is about this weed dealer in New York, and he's used as kind of an entryway to other people's world. So it's not necessarily, I don't think it's going to be weed humor. I hope it's not, because I'm not into weed humor either. So I have hopes that it's not, just from the little bit that I've read about it. Insecure, I'm excited. Like you said, Issa Rae. Awkward Black Girl's good.
Yep.
And so I have all the greatest expectations for that show. Westworld, I don't know, this is HBO's Hail Mary, maybe, or hope that it's going to take the throne away from Game of, not away, but is going to replace Game of Thrones when that leaves next year. I don't know. It has a really good cast and it has a sci-fi element, but other than that, I don't know. I'm hoping that it has something else, and it has a lot of, that character drama that I'm drawn to. And if it's not, then I'll jump ship, because like you said, there's too much good TV. And Divorce is a comedy, and it's Sarah Jessica Parker, Thomas Hayden Church. It's about a marriage. I love stuff about like dysfunctional, broken marriages.
That's why I liked Married so much.
Yes. And Judy Greer was great, by the way. But
I love Judy Greer.
So Divorce is something that I'm looking forward to. But like I said, all of them are, I'm hoping that they're all really good. They have good buzz.
And I have faith in HBO.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think part of why I'm not in a rush to watch any of these, aside from Insecure to help it in the ratings, is because, I have access to HBO at any time. So at any point, I can easily go in and stream these things without waiting. Network shows, you have to wait before it's on Netflix, but I can watch any of these immediately. So they'll kind of be fillers for me in between the other stuff, because I just know that I have full-on access at any point. But I have full faith in HBO. I don't like everything they do, but I just think that, as we've talked about, cable has more interesting stories, more unique stories. They can take things further, and they have just sometimes better production value than a lot of broadcast stuff. So I'm willing to take chances more when it comes to cable. Yeah,
I hope so. Now, is The Leftovers, I know The Leftovers premiered in the fall last year. Is it going to premiere this year in the fall as well?
Well, it was late fall last year. This year, they are going to be doing it in April. And I don't know why they decided to do that, but the upside to it is it's going to be ending right around the time that Emmys are nominating and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll be more on people's minds.
Yes.
But it also, they won't be past any type of cutoffs or anything like that for being considered. So I think I was reading some article about it because I was searching like, when does The Leftovers come back? And I forgot why they said they did it. Like the reporter was making the Emmy commentary, but I forgot why they said they chose April. And I think it's because there is going to be that Game of Thrones gap.
Yeah,
maybe.
probably.
So I think that's why they did it. But it's a long time to wait, but I have faith that they're going to do it well.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it coming back. And we obviously have a full enough fall. And then the last area we have is the streaming networks. So Transparent comes back this week. That is a show I have mixed feelings about. It's one of those shows where everybody annoys me. And so I know that they're doing a really good job acting because I've seen most of these characters on most of these actors on other shows.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to watch because I'm so annoyed with everybody. Like I feel like I need an anchor character that I can root for. Like I don't even root for Jeffrey Tambor's character, Moira. Like, I mean, she's so narcissistic and it's like, well, it's no wonder your kids are this way. Like
exactly.
It all makes sense. They all make sense together, but they're so annoying and I can't root for a single one. And so it makes it hard for me to watch, but I did enjoy both seasons. So I will be checking that out. And then the other show that they have is One Mississippi by a comedian, Tig Notaro. And I did get to see at Blog Her an early screening of the pilot, and I thought it was okay, but again, with this huge amount of TV to watch, I just don't think it's going to make my list of things to watch.
Okay.
I don't know if you're planning on watching either of those or any of the other Amazon shows.
I am planning on watching One Mississippi, but it's not like I need to watch it right away. Although I hear good things about it. And the same for Transparent. I think I need a break from those people.
Yeah. I'm like, why are you coming back already? You know,
Right.
I think like that other show you mentioned where we're like wasn't Rectify. I forget what it was, but some other show where we're getting 2 seasons of it. Shameless.
Yeah, Shameless. Shameless, I don't mind because I love those people.
But it's one of those things where you're getting seasons in 1 year where you normally wouldn't. And so to get Transparent again, I'm like, I can't.
Right.
I need it. I needed that full 9-month break.
Exactly. No, exactly. The one I'm excited about though is Fleabag, another comedy.
I've seen you talking about that. I know nothing about it.
I'm really excited about it. It's about a kind of like this broken woman, and it's she breaks the fourth wall. So that's interesting, I guess, new maybe for an Amazon show. And I'm hearing good things about it. So that's all I know. It's a comedy and it's really funny and it's British. And I kind of like that kind of weird British humor.
Okay.
Catastrophe is one of my favorite comedies as well.
I haven't seen it yet.
But that's not No, because that was earlier this year. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry about that. That was earlier this year. But Man in the High Castle, which it comes back in December.
I never hear. It's one of those shows where I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but the people that talk about it love it.
Yeah, I don't love it. There are some problems that I have with it, but I binged it and it was actually quite enjoyable. And the way that the first season ended is making me a little bit excited about the second season. You know what I mean? Like it has this cliffhanger-ish type of an ending. So I'm excited about the second season. It starts in December. I don't know if it counts as a fall. I count the end of the year up until the end of the year.
Yeah, I count the end of the year as fall,
good.
Yeah.
So it starts in December. And that's, it has good performance, good storytelling. I just had a little bit of a problem with it. But if you like, it's, based on a Philip K. Dick novel of the same name. If you like kind of alternate reality type storytelling, then this is your thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then over on Hulu, there's a new show called Chance, which looks a little interesting. I may check it out. What's interesting on Hulu is they now have the Mindy Project. And I like the Mindy Project for the most part. There are some characters I find problematic, but overall, I enjoyed it. And I definitely enjoyed it more than New Girl.
Agreed.
So I was excited that when Fox got rid of it, that Hulu picked it up. But I will say, because they were releasing one episode at a time, I kept forgetting that it was coming on. Like it's different than, you know what I mean? Like it's different than a Netflix or something that releases everything at once. Yeah. And so I have my DVR, but I'm not used to going, okay, it's Tuesday night. I better hop on Hulu and watch the Mindy Project. Right. So I I thought I watched the whole season. I didn't realize they were on a break and it came back for more.
Right.
So I did not watch the second half of that season. And then now it's back again. And I have a feeling that a key person is gone, and that may or may not upset me because I have mixed feelings about the character. But
I feel like they
Danny
got better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because see, I liked the idea of Danny, but again, it's one of those shows where once you get characters together, where you go from there can really change what happens to a show. And it got to the point where Danny, to me, was starting to feel like a really bad guy. Like, why are you with him?
Yep.
And I didn't watch the second half of the season, so I don't know where it went from there. But I noticed that in all the cast pictures and on her, because, you know, Mindy's very into on her social media, he doesn't appear in pictures the way he used to. So I'm like, all right, they've gotten rid of Danny somehow. So I have to watch and find out. But I feel like, okay, with where I left off, that could be a great thing or a bad thing.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. You're saying the show's getting better.
I think that the move to Hulu was a good one for the show. It kind of breathed a new life into it, and I can't put my finger on it exactly what it is, but it did. The Danny situation, I can confirm nor deny, but the Danny situation, I was never a Danny fan. Never, I didn't, and I was definitely not a Danny Mindy fan. I never understood it. I just don't get them as a couple. And yeah, whatever. But the whole Danny situation, I think, has made the show better. Whatever side they fall on, they have fallen on, have made the show better. And I think that now Mindy as a character is growing, and I think that is also making the show a bit better. So I like it, and I think it's funnier too now.
I need to get caught up now. That's one that I'm like, I gotta watch now.
Yeah.
But now that all those episodes are out, instead of, you know, now I can binge that last season.
Although the move to Hulu, I know that we're kind of used to like Amazon, Netflix, you know, the whole all at once, and we just have them all. There's something about the Hulu doing it week to week that releases that pressure. You know what I mean?
I think it's great. I mean, I love that it's one at a time. You know, because I don't have time to binge watch everything.
Exactly.
So I do appreciate it. But I think because I can't record a streaming show, it's not like my DVR where the shows come on, and even if I miss it, it's recorded. It's like I have to consciously remember that it's on, and then like Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, I have to go on Hulu and watch. Like I would need to set a calendar invite, but I feel a little silly like having calendar reminders for TV shows. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but I'm like, oh my God, that would just make me the ultimate like TV nut. But but you know, so it's one of those things. But it's one of those things where I'm not there yet. And I think I told you my landlord canceled Showtime, so now I have to watch it streaming. So it's the same thing with Masters of Sex. I have to remember like, okay, it's Sunday. Hop on and watch it. And I don't even know if it's available to me Sunday or if I need to wait until Monday.
You usually have to wait until the next day. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am now. So it's challenging. I'll remember it obviously because I'm covering it for your show, but like that's a good built-in reminder for me. So Hulu, I think, is interesting. I like that they have these. I can't wait to watch the Beatles documentary that they just put out. And because they were putting that out, they put out the Rolling Stones' "Gimme Shelter," which I haven't seen. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Same here. Props to Hulu. And then last but not least, Netflix. Oh, go ahead. You have something else to say about Hulu?
Yeah, about Hulu. Their original programming have been really interesting, and I've liked what I've watched. So Casual, which is a comedy,
that's
dramedy.
On my watch list.
I'll tell you,
people.
It's about it's kind of about like fairly annoying people, but for some reason I enjoy it.
Is that the one that Billy Eichner's on?
No, that's Difficult People, which I also like. On Hulu, original programming, and The Path this past spring.
I forgot to watch that, but I heard good things.
Yeah, that was fairly intense. So if you like really intense cult stuff, then
I will check that out.
Yeah, but their original programming, I have confidence in. I've liked what I've seen so far. And like you said, the Hugh Laurie show is coming up, which I haven't decided whether I'm watching or not. But I think I decided that I'm watching the other show that they're premiering along with the Hugh Laurie show. It's called Shut Eye. I haven't heard about that. With the guy from Burn Notice.
The main guy?
Yes, Jeffrey
whatever.
Donovan, I think.
I don't know how I feel about him.
Me neither. But
I liked him on Fargo.
I was just going to say that. On Fargo, I thought he was really good. Never watched a single Burn Notice, but the people...
I watched a couple and I couldn't get into it. And I watched it because the girl on Burn Notice was from Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, which I loved when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That horse movie.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. But the people that I know that watch Burn Notice, they enjoy it.
They loved it.
Yeah.
That was USA's like one of their first big hits in terms of original programming.
Yeah. And it ran for like 7 seasons or something like that.
Yeah, it ran for a while.
Yeah. But in Shut Eye, I want to say it's a drama, and it's something about like he's a failed magician who opens up this like string of psychic stores for the mob. So there's like a mob connection. It just sounds interesting, and it doesn't sound like the same old. So just because of that, I'll give it a chance. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like I'm just kind of tired of the same crap over and over, year after year after year.
One of the things when I compare things we've been talking about on cable versus going back to the beginning of when we started talking on ABC,
right.
ABC has a lot of diverse shows, like, which again, we both give them props for, but they have so many like funny family shows.
Right.
Like, and I don't mean like necessarily family friendly, but it's like quirky family, you know, the quirky family on The Middle, the quirky family on The Goldbergs, the quirky family on Modern Family, like the quirky Fresh Off the Boat, the quirky, the Blackish. Like, it's just, I'm like, okay, enough with all of your family comedies.
We get it.
Give me something else. And that is part of what I'm thinking, you know, when I say there's this problem with broadcast, I'm like, all these shows, a lot of these shows are good, but I feel like they're just giving us the same show with different color people, or the same show 30 years ago, you know, for the Goldbergs, you know. So I'm into where the streaming and the cable is going, because they're the ones right now, for the most part, that are giving us something different. With exception, you get the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and the stuff like that, but it's cable and streaming that are taking the chances and doing different things. Yeah.
I watch a lot of TV. Some people, people that know me are always asking me about TV, what to watch, what I'm watching, whatever. And I always recommend cable shows or streaming shows over the network shows.
Yeah.
And then it opens up this other conversation. And what I always say is the broadcast TV, it's all about giving us worlds that we've already seen.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
It's comfortable.
Right, exactly. But for cable and streaming, it's all about kind of that micro storytelling, that the storytelling that's more experimental. And that's interesting. And that's why people kind of are gravitating to these cable and streaming shows. Yeah, they may not get the millions of people, in the 14 million or whatever, like a Walking Dead, but they're getting really great, good number week to week. So when I think about something like Atlanta or something like, any of the Hulu shows, like it's about kind of the characters and more distilled storytelling and distilled worlds, or more specific worlds too, Masters of None, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what really makes it special when it comes to cable and streaming over the broadcast TV. So, but again, there's, for every taste, there's a color. So
yes,
you're good.
One great thing about this peak TV time that we're in is that, and I don't know if I said this before we started recording or not, I think it was before, but I'm like, taste is subjective. Yeah. So a lot of these shows I hate, other people love, and that's fine. Like there's something for everyone in this landscape that we're in. And I'm not slamming Leave It to Beaver, but we're past the days where your choices were like Leave It to Beaver, Andy Griffith, and The Brady Bunch. And I like all those shows, which is fine, but we're in such a dynamic time right now. So those of us who want more from our TV can get it. Mm-hmm. If I want a show that makes me think, I can find them. Other people just want to be entertained. They want to laugh. They want to laugh at stupid jokes or people falling tripping, and they're into physical comedy, and great, good for you. Like it's there. So, there's something for everyone. And like bringing it home with like our last network, we have Netflix. And, Netflix is interesting for me because I have such a backlog of Netflix shows, and it goes back to what we were talking about with them dumping everything for binge watching, because I feel like if I don't have time to binge watch it, I won't start it. So there are a ton of Netflix shows that I haven't started, and I wrote down like Crown ? Do they have a show called Crown coming on?
Yes, there's about the early, when Queen Elizabeth got her crown or got the crown.
they have that, and that I feel like that one's coming on a little bit later. That's why I wrote a question mark. And then we have Luke Cage, which I don't know a ton about, but people are super excited, and everyone's asking me if I'm going to watch it. And I'm like, why do you guys think, from what you know about me, this is something I would watch?
This
But
is my thing.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, maybe I'll give it a shot, but down the line.
Yeah, I'm excited about Luke Cage. Again, I'm not a huge superhero fan. I don't read comic
But
books.
it seems a little bit different.
But what I like about these Netflix superhero shows is that they're less about them being superheroes and more about the actual characters and the people.
Yes.
Jessica Jones being a great example of that, and Luke Cage was introduced during Jessica Jones, so I'm excited. I like Mike Coulter a lot, and I think that it's set in Harlem, and the characters I think are going to be really interesting, and hopefully things that we really haven't seen much of, especially for a Netflix show. So I'm really excited about Luke Cage, and that's outside of any superhero-ness about it.
Yeah. Now Black Mirror is coming back.
Ooh.
And I have only seen Black Mirror White Christmas because I adore John Hamm, and it was terrifying, and I loved it. And I have some friends who have seen it, and they're like, it will, like the rest of the series, they're like, it's really good, it will wreck you. And I'm like, sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
But other than that, I haven't watched any Black Mirror, so I will at some point 100% without a doubt catch up on all of that and watch what's new if I liked it, which based on what people have said, sounds like I will.
Black Mirror is an amazing show, but I don't recommend you watch. If you can do it, you have to tell me your secret, because it's impossible to watch them back to back to back to back. At best,
like
I got through two of them. It's super intense.
I've heard that it's like super intense, and isn't it like a British show? Like, again, it's
a British show. It's an anthology show. Every quote unquote episode is a self-contained movie, pretty much like 45-minute movie, all having to do with different things. Great thing.
Documentary now.
Yes, but completely
similar
different.
in that it's like a series, but it's different stories. Yeah.
Yes, different stories, but they're all kind of around the same theme of technology and humanity, and how humanity affects technology and the darkness of it all. It's great show. That one I totally recommend.
And not that it would have been back in the fall, but I'm a little sad that Bloodline got canceled. So that is a Netflix one that will be no more. That's a bummer. I thought it was good. I thought season 1 was better, but I thought that it was really good. But the one that I'm excited about, that a lot of people are excited about, is Gilmore Girls coming back Thanksgiving week. I'm excited for that week of Thanksgiving, like starting with Sunday, because that's when The Affair comes back, and then I'll have Gilmore Girls. And there's some movie coming out that weekend. Interestingly enough, I think it's the Brad Pitt, Marion Cotillard movie. But I'm like, that's going to be like a good week for entertainment. But I am thrilled about the Gilmore Girls coming back. Of course, there will be probably excessive coverage of it on this show. But I'm excited to see where we pick up with Lorelai and Rory and Stars Hollow. Yeah. And I it's weird. In some ways, I have 100% faith in the talent writing this. I know the actors have got it down, but I on one hand, I have complete faith that the writing will be great. I'm glad that Amy Sherman Palladino is back, but it's one of those shows that it makes me nervous. Like I have faith in them, but at the other side, I'm like, is it going to capture the magic?
Yes.
Because it's one of those funny shows. I watch a lot of shows with white people on them. I watch a lot of shows with everyone, but most TV before we got to like the last couple of years, most TV shows for a long time were mostly white people, unless you went back to the 90s when you had a lot of Martin and Cosby Show, Fresh Prince, all that.
And that was still just a handful.
Yeah, that was just a handful. Yeah. And it's so interesting about Gilmore Girls when I thought about it. I'm like, aside from Michelle, there weren't really people of color on this show. I mean, there was Lane and her mother, but there weren't really people of color on this show. And yet it's a show that almost every kind of person likes. Like, I mean, not everybody watches it. Not everyone gives it a chance, but most people who like it really like it. And it's one of those things where like it doesn't matter that it's really white and in this like little Connecticut town. And it's just something like the way it was written, the way these characters are, the way it was acted, like it's just such a well put together show that so many kinds of people appreciate it. And I think it's one of those shows, it was one of those really smart network shows that like anyone who liked intelligent TV could get into it. The book references, the snappy dialogue, the pop culture references, and everything I know about Paul Anka, I know from
Gilmore Girls, me too.
And then there's these lists of like, read all the books that Rory, read. And it's
Right.
one of those things where not a lot of shows are going to inspire people to want to go out and read a book. So I think it was really special. And I'm one of those people who I want diversity, but I want it organic. Like, I don't want you to have a Black person just to say you have a Black person. Like, I want them to be a fully fleshed out, like, great character, not a token. And this is one of those shows where it just like, not having a lot of people of color in their world makes sense logically for where they are, but they don't pretend to be something else. Like, I don't know. They just did a really good job. And usually sometimes I watch shows and I'm like, how are you living this life with the job you have or the, whatever. I just get annoyed. But they just did this so well. I love Gilmore Girls and I'm super excited for it to be back. So
Ditto.
Yay to Netflix for that.
Ditto everything you just said. I'm so excited that I have made sure that I don't know anything about it outside of the fact that it's the it's going to be 90-minute episode and the titles of the episode. That's it.
That's it. Like, that's all I know. That's all I need to know.
That's all I need to know. I don't want to know anything else. I want to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I haven't even I passed right by it.
Hot cider and just curl up on the couch and just watch. I'm so excited for it to be back. And I mean, it's a show that makes people feel that way. I mean, it was just really, really well done. And I love when guys end up watching it because it was definitely geared toward women and mothers and daughters and, girls, whatever. Yeah. But I love when guys watch it and are like, oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, totally.
I'm like, if you give it a chance, it's actually really good.
Totally.
So, oh my gosh, so many shows, and we didn't even go in depth into a lot of them. Like, this is really, peak TV is not over. There's so much to watch, but I hope you guys enjoyed that lightning fast overview of most of what is coming out of interest. And we skipped a whole network because we don't even watch CBS. So, I mean, there's so much coming out. There's so many great shows. I would love to hear what you were watching, what you think I should be watching. So make sure to shoot that my way. But before we go, Carly, I would love for you to let everyone know how they can find you online and connect with what you're doing and your shows and all that good stuff.
Yes. Well, you can always find me online at CoreTempArts.com. Both my shows, That Pop This Life and Talking Shondaland, are on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play and everywhere else where you would find podcasts. And on Twitter, I'm at Carly Vision with a K. So you can always find me on Twitter. I love tweeting. But like many people, I love tweeting. So you can always find me there. But I just really, really quickly talk about lightning fast. Sci-Fi has a new show executive produced by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck called Incorporated that I'm kind of excited about. It has
I did see that, but I didn't know they were involved, and I never watched Sci-Fi, so I just glossed over it.
I just recently, this summer, I binge watched a few shows that people recommended that happened to be on Sci-Fi, and I kept seeing the commercials for this, and I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm going to watch it, and that premieres. And then Vikings returns on History in November. So I'm excited about that.
My former co-host raved about that, and that's another one she made me promise to watch. And I'm like, okay, I will at some point. But again, it's one of those things that now it's so deep that I need to watch too much. So I haven't added it to my plate because I have a few seasons to catch up on. But I mean, there are so many shows.
So many,
and I'll be along with amazing guests like Carly talking about updates to some of those shows as we continue through the seasons of 18 to 49. But Carly, thanks again for being here. And listeners, if you want to keep up with what's going on 18 to 49, like I said, I want to hear what shows you're watching, what shows you think I should watch. You can tweet me, 18 to 49 podcast, on Facebook, 18 to 49. If you want to send a note or a comment, or we've had a couple of you drop in some audio every now and then. Ooh. So if you have something to say, send us a recording.
That's fun.
18 to 49 podcast at gmail.com. Yeah, it was totally a surprise. Someone was like, one of our listeners, Stephanie, who's also a podcaster. I think that's why she did it. But she's like, I had some feedback from based on what you guys said. And she gave us her feelings about something. And I'm like, okay, I got you. I
love voicemails on my show. I love it. I always recommend it because it's an audio. So, and I hate reading things. So I'm just like, send me stuff. I love them. So yes.
Yeah. So I love it. And it's great to hear it in your own voice. So yeah, if you want something to send in, feel free to send that over to 18 to 49 podcast at gmail.com and on the web at 18 to 49 podcast.com. Thanks again, Carly, for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. Thank you for having me, and I'll come on anytime you want me to.
Yes, and I love having another person who's as into TV as I am, who gets what's going on with all these shows.
Yeah.
So thanks again for being here.
Always.
Thanks everyone for listening, and I will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.